Well, I know a few people have been waiting for this Wizard's Hollow. It is time for the Eternal Hoarder Dragon's Hollow to come here. Now, Eternals themselves I did want to speak about very quickly before we get into this, because people ask all the time how good actually are Eternal Dragons, and even though I did kind of go through this in the VIP Dragons tier list that I made very briefly, Eternal Dragons overall aren't too great. That's for battling reasons. Like, we do have a few dragons, like say Bicephalus Eternal, that, you know, he's got some anti-meta elements. Same with Hoarder Eternal even, the one that's currently in the Wizard's Hollow. And there are a few dragons that have some use. Problem is that currently the skill on the Eternals, being fatality, which knocks out low health opponents, is just not that impressive, all things considered. But again, in certain niche scenarios it can be very, very nice, and that's the reason why some people are actually having a nice time with High Void Eternal. It's just, overall, if you're considering picking up the Eternal from this Wizard's Hollow, and you're considering spending gems, be aware that the main reason that you'd be picking them up would be just to add to your collection rather than like a super OP dragon or anything like that. Now, they are still legendaries and they are still VIPs because they've got a skill. They are 200 orb dragons as well, so they're not easy to get a hold of normally. Like, some of the Eternals, we've had their quests for them so that we can get 100 orbs for them, and then you trade once and then you can summon them. But like Hoarder, we just had to, you know, trade basically or pay for him. And so that means that Hoarder is actually a good one to want to get out of the Wizard's Hollow. And plus this time, you know, we've got an XL food box, and we do also have a primal chest. Primal chest pretty bad, to be honest. Extra food is fine. And this is another Wizard's Hollow where the main reward that you'll be getting out of this hollow would be the actual dragon itself on room 50. But if you're wondering how many gems very roughly is probably okay to spend, it does depend on how many gems you actually have. It depends on how desperate you are for Hoarder, because again, he's not really, I normally wouldn't spend more gems here. I'm going to do it once just because we're here, because that's 15 gems. But if we die once more already, like, I'm just going to quit out. I'm not spending more than that. But very roughly, you know, spending a couple of 100 gems on a VIP dragon is usually not too bad of a pickup. Because, like, if you can get an Eternal Dragon for, like, 100 gems, that's really good. If you can get them for 200 gems, it's getting a bit more expensive, but it's still fine. When you start getting to, like, the 300 range, that's when it's a bit, that's a bit of a yikes. But again, it depends on how many gems you actually have yourself, because think about it, if you're a free-to-play player, like I've got 300 gems, 300 gems takes ages to collect. And plus, we have other events and such ongoing where we might want to use them on something that is just going to give us more value. And Wizard's Hollow is just pure luck. Like, you can never predict where the wizard is going to be. And anyone that's claiming that they can, nobody so far has been able to provide any substantial evidence to point to the fact that they know how Wizard's Hollow is actually generated. Because, you know, there's randomness, there's true randomness and things like that. So far, I have not seen any good evidence to suggest that there is a pattern in Wizard's Hollow. Again, if someone ever finds it, hit me up, because just like everyone else, I absolutely love free stuff. And if we can get a pattern in Wizard's Hollow and have people winning stuff for free, that would be fantastic. However, I do think that Social Point would end up, you know, patching that quite quickly, because that is what I would normally expect from them. And now we're at this point here. We're currently at room, 28, and we're already at the 20 gems cost. You know, at this point I would usually leave, because at room 28 we're still only just about halfway done, and at this point it's going to get a lot more expensive. We would end up missing out on our primal chest here, of course, but thinking about the other rewards that we've got here, like there's 2 gems. It's really not very substantial. 2 gems and literally nothing else apart from a health perk. Like, this is a pretty bad run. Like, if we'd have had maybe 20 plus gems, 30 gems, I'd be willing to probably play on with this run. especially since I would love to pick up Hoarder Eternal, but I just can't. It's not logically a good choice because we've been getting pretty lucky so far on this run, and you know, I'm just not willing to spend if we get stuck, but you know, I'm just not willing to take the risk. I'm going to quit out. Now, when you're around about room 30, that's when you have to really start contemplating, because if you do get lucky, you could obviously just get the dragon for barely anything, but when the other rewards are so bad as well, it's just a bit ugh, you know what I mean? The other reason why I would love to have picked up Hoarder Eternal this time around is because we do have quests for him as well, and it's the same as the other Eternal quests. You can get insignias for them, orbs for the dragon, and who doesn't love insignias and orbs for that selected dragon? And plus, again, he is quite a cool looking dragon. I know tons of people that absolutely love Hoarder. He's their favourite Eternal. My favourite one is always going to be bisexual. It always has been. Unless a new one comes out, which they probably won't ever. But my favourite's always been bisexual Eternal. He's got an interesting set of elements as well. And he's already empowered twice thanks to the quests that came up. But, you know, that is my general view on the Eternals. Again, they look quite cool. They've got the nice little portals and the fatality skill. I think if they buff it a little bit, it could go from being, like, barely ever used to possibly even going to OP, depending on what the balancing is like. Because I remember when they were released, there was this bug that was happening and it was insta-killing dragons when it shouldn't, which was interesting. So they, at the time, were like, the most broken things ever, but that's because they were actually broken, not in an OP sense necessarily, just they were programmed incorrectly. But if you were considering getting an Eternal to add to your team, my suggestion would be don't. Because, I mean, we've got all these different VIPs in the game, and the reality is Eternals just at the moment, how the game currently is, just aren't really in a great spot. If you've got no other VIPs at all, it's your only VIP, like you're a new player or something, then sure, you can add them into your first team. It's just, yeah, it's a bit iffy. But, I mean, think about it. Compared to Eternals, which are 200 orb dragons that are pretty hard to get, we have all of the vampires that you could, why did I put, it's because I said vampire with an S. But just think about some of these other vampires that we've got even. 100 orb dragons, we've got Sinful, we've got Blind God, we've got Hexed, we've got Prideful for certain arenas, stuff like that. We do have the other vampires, which again, in certain master arenas, they're actually quite good. Envious isn't too bad in certain arenas. Wrathful's another one that can be quite useful at certain times. You've got these options for 100 orbs. There's not really a good reason outside of collection purposes to really invest into getting an Eternal unless you already have a substantial amount of orbs for them. So if you're just going from scratch, like you've got 0 orbs of an Eternal and you were considering picking one up, I wouldn't suggest it myself. But I just thought I would go through that quickly because I do get a lot of questions about Eternals in particular, because I think some people severely undervalue them, like they treat them as if they are complete utter garbage. And other people severely overvalue them a little bit and say, oh yeah, they're really good. I wouldn't call them really good. They're still like, what, C tier, maybe D tier-ish. But, you know, I'm still not decided what we're going to be doing with Duo Island, because I don't know if you know, but I absolutely love dinosaurs, and I do like collecting dragons, so Duo Dino is actually really, really tempting. At the same time, we do have the event chests going on, of course, which do have Joker orbs in them. So far, we've only got 1 of the ether staffs, and we've only got 5 of the coins, so I've got like, what, 6 items so far, which is not very much. But we haven't opened up any of the event chests in the grid event yet. I would at least like to pick up the mythical egg chest if we can, but if we can pick up the mythical egg chest without having to get the event chest, that would be great. Will we actually be able to do that? I am going to, we'll see basically. Then of course we've got the arena stuff going on at the moment, and in the arena, make sure you're aware, because we do have guaranteed Eternal insignias. I have been telling this to literally everyone that I can find that's asking about arena right now, but it's guaranteed. So if you need some more insignias to get to a certain part of your collection, then now is a great time to do it. Get the guaranteed insignias from there. Make sure you're logging in every day so that you get the free Eternal insignia. I don't do that, but you definitely should if you want to get as many of these Eternal chests as you can, and you probably should because, again, you can get these heroic VIPs and they are very, very good, obviously. So make sure you are doing all of that. And I guess for now we will finish off our ads later on. Hopefully we get like a 50 puzzle drop because I'm not done with puzzle event yet. I've actually been slacking on puzzle event because I've been busy. I've been finishing Starfield and doing other stuff. We can definitely still get Aether or Ether Ray. We can get them still easily. It's just we need to make sure that we're not slacking on all of these quests. Because you see we've got quest battles to do, league battles. It's mainly the breeding bit that I haven't really been grinding out too much. Which is fine, we can do that today and we should be able to make Ether Ray without problem, so I'm not worried. But we'll see what we get out of our 8th celebration chest, because we could get, well, we could get a heroic that we don't already have, we could get a legend that we don't already have, so I always look forward to opening those up. And of course, we'll open up some other chests and get the event currency for grid, and then we will see what happens. But either way, I guess for now, I would just say good luck with Wizard's Hollow. I hope that you get blessed with Mr. Hoarder Eternal, even if I haven't so far. Maybe if we'd have pushed, we could have got him, but I'm not in the mood to waste any more gems than we already spent earlier. I'm playing it safe in case we have an event that we really, really want to use our gems for anything. And we do still have Empower Happy Hour on. And Mr. Has will be done soon, and then we can empower someone else as well before this event ends. I want more of these 5-day long Empower Happy Hours. They're great. I love them. And, you know, eventually Has will get to 5 stars and we can feel like we're a pay-to-win player then. Only in our hearts will we feel like that, however. But anyway, for now, I wish you the best and good luck.